back in 1987, Full House became one of the most beloved sitcoms ever made. But behind the laughter and the famous catchphrases, the lives of the cast took some shocking turns. One star built a billion-dollar fashion empire, another faced very public scandals, and one heartbreaking loss left fans around the world in mourning. Nearly 4 decades later, the Tanner family looks very different. So what really happened to the cast of Full House? Let's find out. No. Well, 1. Bob Saget as Danny Tanner. Bob Saget was 30 years old when he first stepped into the role that would define a generation's idea of the perfect TV dad. Danny Tanner was the neat freak, overly emotional, endlessly devoted father of 3, a morning news anchor with a heart so big it practically burst through the screen every episode. Saget brought a warmth and sincerity to the character that felt completely genuine, and in many ways, it's because it was. By all accounts from his co-stars, Bob Saget on set was not far removed from Danny Tanner, a man who poured love into every room he walked into. Some of Danny Tanner's greatest moments live on in TV history: his tearful conversations with DJ about growing up, his comedic chemistry with Joey and Jesse, and his unwavering commitment to his daughters gave the show its emotional core. Saget had a rare gift for balancing slapstick comedy with genuine gut-punch sentimentality, sometimes within the same scene. What many fans didn't know during Full House's run was just how different Bob Saget was from Danny Tanner in real life. Outside of the family-friendly sitcom, Saget was known as one of stand-up comedy's most outrageously adult comedians, a sharp contrast that made him something of a cult figure among fans who discovered his stand-up later in life. He hosted America's Funniest Home Videos simultaneously during the Full House years, cementing himself as a true fixture of late 80s and early 90s television. After Full House ended, Saget continued to work steadily in television, film, and stand-up. He notably narrated the long-running CBS sitcom How I Met Your Mother from 2005 to 2014, giving his voice to the older version of Ted Mosby in one of the most popular shows of that era. He also reprised his role as Danny Tanner in Netflix's Full House revival, Fuller House, which ran from 2016 to 2020, a reunion that fans had dreamed about for decades. On the personal side, Bob was married to Sherry Kramer from 1982 to 1997, and together they had 3 daughters. He later married TV personality Kelly Rizzo in 2018, and by all accounts, the two were deeply happy together. Then came the moment that devastated fans, cast members, and the entire comedy world. On January 9th, 2022, Bob Saget was found unresponsive in his hotel room at the Ritz-Carlton in Orlando, Florida, at the age of 65. He had performed a stand-up show the night before, and by audience accounts was in great spirits and at the top of his game. The cause of death was later determined to be blunt head trauma, a tragic accident. The outpouring of grief from his Full House family and the broader entertainment world was immediate and overwhelming. John Stamos, Candace Cameron Bure, Jodie Sweetin, and Dave Coulier all spoke publicly about losing not just a co-star, but one of their closest friends and a true father figure. Bob Saget's legacy extends far beyond Full House, but it is here, as the loving, imperfect, endlessly trying Danny Tanner, that the world will always remember him first. His journey reminds us that the people who make us laugh the hardest are often carrying the most heart. We miss him dearly. Number 2, John Stamos as Jesse Katsopoulos. If Full House had a breakout star, a name that transcended the show and became a genuine cultural icon, it was John Stamos. He was 24 years old when he first appeared as the leather jacket-wearing, motorcycle-riding, hair-obsessing Uncle Jesse. And frankly, he may not have aged a single day since. Jesse Katsopoulos started as the cool, self-absorbed bachelor and evolved beautifully over 8 seasons into a devoted husband to Becky and a loving father to twins Nikki and Alex. John Stamos brought an effortless charisma to Jesse that made the character impossible not to love. His musical performances on the show, he actually played drums with the Beach Boys on multiple occasions, gave Full House a live energy that few sitcoms of the era could match. And of course, the character's obsession with his own hair became one of the most iconic running gags in television comedy. Born in Cypress, California in 1963, Stamos had already made a name for himself on the soap opera General Hospital before Full House, but it was the San Francisco household that made him a household name. Throughout the show's run, he maintained a high public profile, including a high-profile marriage to supermodel and actress Rebecca Roman in 1998, a relationship that captivated tabloids for years before their divorce in 2005. After Full House ended, Stamos built an impressive and diverse career. He starred in ER, took on multiple Broadway productions, and continued touring with the Beach Boys as a guest musician. He also appeared in series like Grandfathered and You, the latter in a darkly comedic role that surprised fans accustomed to his cleaner image. He reprised his role as Jesse in Fuller House and remained one of the most enthusiastic champions of the reunion, frequently speaking about how meaningful those years were to him. On the personal front, Stamos married actress and model Caitlin McHugh in 2018, and the couple welcomed their son Billy later that year. Stamos has spoken openly about how fatherhood transformed him, noting that becoming a dad in his mid-50s gave him a perspective on life he hadn't expected. Today, John Stamos remains one of the most active and beloved members of the Full House alumni. At 62, he is still very much in the public eye, performing, acting, and being unapologetically himself. His journey from the cool uncle to a devoted real-life father is one of television's most satisfying character arcs, both on-screen and off. Number 3, Dave Coulier as Joey Gladstone. Dave Coulier may not always get the top billing in Full House retrospectives, but Joey Gladstone was the secret weapon of that show's comedic engine. Joey was Danny's best friend since childhood, a struggling stand-up comedian and voice actor who moved into the Tanner house and became an unofficial third parent to the girls. Coulier was 27 when the show began, and his gift for impressions, physical comedy, and voice work made Joey one of the most purely funny characters in the series. His Popeye, Bullwinkle, and various cartoon voice impressions became a staple of the show's humor, and it's worth noting that Coulier was a legitimate voiceover artist outside of Full House, lending his voice to several animated projects throughout his career. The Cut It Out hand gesture became one of the most imitated bits in schoolyards across America. Coulier's life after Full House is an interesting one. He stepped away from the Hollywood spotlight in a way his co-stars didn't, taking on smaller television roles and focusing more on his stand-up comedy career and personal passions. He is an avid hockey player. He actually played in celebrity hockey events and has spoken about the sport being a huge part of his life for decades. On the personal side, Coulier famously dated singer Alanis Morissette in the early 1990s, a relationship widely believed to have inspired some of the songs on her iconic 1995 album, Jagged Little Pill, though both have been characteristically good-humored about the speculation over the years. He has been married to photographer Melissa Bring since 2014, and the couple appear genuinely happy and low-key, far removed from the Hollywood spotlight. Coulier returned for Fuller House and seemed to thoroughly enjoy revisiting the character that made him famous. Today, he remains connected to his Full House roots while living what appears to be a grounded, content life outside of the entertainment industry's constant glare. Number 4, Candace Cameron Bure as DJ. Tanner Candace Cameron was just 11 years old when she first played Donna Jo DJ Tanner, the eldest and arguably most responsible of the 3 Tanner sisters. DJ was the relatable big sister, navigating first loves, high school pressures, and the unique challenge of growing up in a house full of well-meaning but occasionally chaotic adults. Cameron brought a natural authenticity to the role that resonated deeply with young viewers who saw themselves in DJ's everyday struggles. Some of DJ's most memorable moments tackled genuinely serious themes for a family sitcom, including a storyline about disordered eating that was remarkably ahead of its time and remains one of the most discussed episodes of the entire series. After Full House, Candace Cameron, who married NHL player Valerie Bure in 1996 and took the name Candace Cameron Bure, remained a consistent presence in entertainment, particularly in the world of television movies. And she became one of the most recognized faces on the Hallmark Channel, starring in dozens of feel-good holiday films that developed their own loyal fan base. She served as a co-host on ABC's The View for several seasons, wading into a more politically charged environment that brought her increased public attention. Her faith has been central to her public identity for many years, and she has written multiple books about Christianity and living with purpose. In 2022, she made headlines when she departed Hallmark Channel to join the Great American Family Network in a major content deal, a move she tied directly to her values, which sparked significant public debate and made her one of entertainment's more talked-about figures that year. She reprised her role as DJ in Fuller House, this time as the lead character, now a widowed mother raising her own children, in a direct nod to the original premise. The show gave her a chance to demonstrate real growth as a performer, and she anchored all 5 seasons with confidence. Today, Candace Cameron Bure is one of the most recognizable and discussed members of the original cast, living a life defined by her faith, her family of 4, and a career that has remarkably continued to evolve 4 decades after she first walked onto that San Francisco set. On 5, Jodie Sweetin as Stephanie Tanner. If there is a Full House story that embodies both the highs and the very real lows of growing up in Hollywood, it belongs to Jodie Sweetin. She was just 5 years old when she was cast as the middle Tanner daughter, Stephanie, the sassy, quick-witted sister whose timing was so sharp it rivaled the adult cast members. How rude wasn't just a catchphrase. It was Stephanie Tanner's entire personality in 2 words, and Sweetin delivered it with a comedic precision that was extraordinary for a child her age. Stephanie Tanner had some of the show's most emotionally layered storylines, from dealing with a friend smoking to navigating the social dynamics of middle school, and Sweetin carried them all with remarkable maturity. But after Full House ended, Jodie Sweetin's life took some profoundly difficult turns. She has spoken candidly and courageously in public interviews and in her own memoir about her struggles with drug and alcohol addiction, which began in her late teens and escalated significantly into her 20s. The transition from child stardom to adult life without the structure of a long-running show proved brutal, and she has said that the loss of that identity sent her searching for something to fill the void. What makes Jodie Sweetin's story one of the most important in this entire cast is not the struggle, it's the survival. She fought back, she sought treatment, found sobriety, and became an outspoken advocate for recovery and mental health awareness. She has been open about relapsing, about the long road back, and about the work required to stay well. And in doing so, she has become a genuinely meaningful voice for others fighting similar battles. Sweetin married multiple times and had children along the way, and while her personal life has seen turbulence, she has consistently shown up for her kids and for herself. The Fuller House revival came at a time when her life had stabilized significantly, and her return as Stephanie, now an aspiring DJ, felt like a triumphant second act. Today, Jodie Sweetin is sober, active as an actress and public speaker, and unafraid to tell the truth about her journey. And her story reminds us that the middle child doesn't always have it easy, but that resilience, when it comes, can be extraordinary. Number 6, Mary-Kate and Ashley Olsen as Michelle Tanner. No discussion of Full House's cast is complete without addressing the phenomenon that is Mary-Kate and Ashley Olsen. The twins were just 9 months old when they were cast, alternating in the role, as is standard practice for infant actors, to play the youngest Tanner daughter, Michelle. What began as a logistical necessity became one of the most remarkable origin stories in entertainment history. Michelle Tanner's "You Got It, Dude" became the show's most iconic sign-off, and the character's irresistible toddler charm gave Full House some of its biggest laughs. As the twins grew, Michelle evolved from a scene-stealing baby into a full-fledged comedic force, and by the show's final seasons, she was carrying storylines with genuine skill. What happened next is the stuff of Hollywood legend. The Olsen twins leveraged their Full House fame into an entertainment empire almost unparalleled for child stars. Through their production company, Dual Star, they released a seemingly endless stream of direct-to-video films, TV movies, books, clothing lines, and merchandise throughout the 1990s and early 2000s, accumulating a net worth that reportedly reached hundreds of millions of dollars before they were even adults. Then, in what surprised fans everywhere, both Mary-Kate and Ashley chose not to return for Fuller House in 2016, a decision that disappointed cast members who had hoped for the full reunion. The twins have largely stepped away from acting and the entertainment spotlight altogether, choosing instead to focus on their luxury fashion brands, The Row and Elizabeth and James, both of which have earned serious critical respect in the fashion world, with The Row in particular becoming one of the most acclaimed high fashion labels in the industry. Mary-Kate married French businessman Olivier Sarkozy in 2015, though the couple divorced in 2021. Ashley has maintained an even more private personal life. Both twins have made it clear, in the rare interviews they do give, that they are deeply intentional about protecting their privacy. A striking choice for 2 women who were among the most photographed children in American pop culture history. And their story is a genuinely fascinating one. Child stars who took their fame, monetized it with extraordinary shrewdness, and then walked away from the spotlight entirely on their own terms. Whatever one might think of that choice, the ambition and independence behind it is undeniable. From the very first episode to this day, the Full House cast has given us far more than television. They gave us a family, imperfect, chaotic, hilarious, and overflowing with love, that millions of people grew up alongside. And as it turns out, the real lives behind those characters have been just as full of triumph, full of heartbreak, full of reinvention, and full of the kind of resilience that doesn't make headlines but makes people. We lost Bob Saget far too soon, and that loss is felt every time someone watches those reruns and hears that theme song. But his memory lives in the laughter he left behind and in the cast of people who loved him like family, because they were. From John Stamos still owning every room he walks into, to Jodie Sweetin turning her hardest years into her greatest strength, to the Olsen twins quietly building one of fashion's most respected empires, to Andrea Barber reminding us that life after the spotlight can be just as rich and meaningful. This cast has shown us that everywhere you look, there's a heart, a hand to hold on to. If you grew up with Full House, hit like and let us know your favorite memory from the show in the comments. Subscribe for more content like this and help us beat the algorithm so we can keep bringing you these nostalgic deep dives. Thanks for joining this trip down memory lane. Take care of yourselves, and we'll see you next time.